friends, the show starts now. Welcome to the weekly roundtable, where the takes are hot and FOMO set to disable. Welcome to the weekly roundtable, where friends are made and we all drink that red maple. Break. Juan's got his eyes on the latest somehow. We being forex that make you go wild. So crazy is a man on a mission like a Tesla. He most def got a vision. Weekly roundtable.
Are we finally getting some bullish signals? Well, we're going to show you some data and key metrics that could be pointing to a change in the trend. As always, we'd like to thank you for joining the stream. Don't forget, nothing on the stream is considered financial advice. We have the disclaimer there at the beginning of the video. This is strictly for entertainment and educational purposes only. So we'll be discussing the trends, what we see in the market, and other news also that's been going on in the last week. We'd appreciate if you watch the video all the way through, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you like what you see. And please don't forget to hit that bell notification, because we're finding that our videos are not being pushed out quite all the time to our viewers, and we'd like to make sure you get these videos as they are released. So with that being said, I'll bring up the rest of the panel. As usual, we have Juan G, Crypto Cruiser, and Terry Motive. How are you gentlemen doing this week?
Good evening.
I'm doing great. I'm really optimistic about the price action for crypto.
Yep, pumped up for another round.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll be showing some, like I said, some metrics that are going to show that we could be possibly having a reversal in the market, which is exciting to say the least. The action we've had the last little while, going sideways, chop, and of course that capitulation that we had, never any fun, but better things are on the horizon. So we'll get right to it. Let's get into the news first. Let's see where we are. Okay. All right. So we'll start off with a little bit of stats in the market. The global crypto market cap is 2.81 trillion. These numbers are all as of 9 o'clock this morning. 3.72% increase over the last day. The total crypto market volume over the last 24 hours is 1.354 billion, which has increased 43.22%. The total volume in DeFi is currently 7.27 billion, which is 7% of the total crypto market cap for our volume. And the volume of stablecoins currently is 97 billion. 24-hour volume Bitcoin dominance is currently at 60.6%, which is an increase of 0.04% on the day. Moving down, the fear and greed. Where are we? Here we go. As of this morning, sitting at 49. Which is current. Yesterday, we were in fear at 32. Last week, we were in fear at 45, and then last month, 47. So we've been neutral for most of the time, except for when we did have that capitulation. We did dip down to the 15 on the fear and greed, which was pretty spooky for a lot of people. Haven't been that low since the FTX crash. First story I want to cover. Actually, you know what? We'll go over the signal right away. What I was talking about in the opening. One of the signals that has emerged is the Bitcoin long-term holder behavior and the total wallets of anyone who has held for at least 155 days. So Bitcoin's corrective phase set a 4-month low at 76,600, which if you saw the video that we posted yesterday, that was actually something that we predicted on this channel about 2 months ago. We did a video on the possible head and shoulders pattern that was playing out. Bitcoin was at 92 or 93,000 at that point. We said it was very possible that it could dip down to the 76,000 range, and that's exactly what it did. That pattern played out perfectly. But despite the decline, long-term holders have continued to hold large amounts of BTC, suggesting a unique market dynamic moving forward. Long-term holder activity remains largely subdued, with a notable decline in their sell-side pressure, which is very nice to see. Glassnode said on March 18th, which is just a couple of days ago. Bitcoin's recovery comes as selling pressure among long-term holders and wallets that have held Bitcoin for at least 155 days. It begins to wane, slowing down. So the binary spending indicator, a metric used when long-term holders are spending a significant proportion of their holdings in a sustained manner, shows a slowdown, meaning the selling has slowed down. And so basically, it's leveling out. Suggests that there are greater willingness to hold and spend their coins among this cohort. So long-term holders are holding on to their Bitcoin for dear life, which is you want to see that because it shows kind of sentiment in the market, especially for those whales, we'll call them, or holders that have held for for quite a long time, over 155 days. Okay, I also want to go over this story. This one's interesting because obviously we are a big Solana fan. This channel, I've been preaching Solana since the FTX crash, and it got all the way down to I believe it was $10 or just below $10. Anyway, Solana rallies 8% as crypto market recovers. A room for more SOL upside. We got a couple of graphs here. The native token rose 8% on March 19th, which was yesterday. I had a really good day. Jerome Powell's remarks at the FOMC meeting. The market mirrored intraday movements in the U.S. stock market, suggesting SOL's gains were not driven by industry-specific news, such as reports that the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission may drop its lawsuit against Ripple after clinging to it for 4 years, which we will touch on in just a minute. Here is a chart showing SOL and the index futures. And the one I really wanted to show is this one right here. I thought this was really, really interesting. Even though there has been a decline in the overall crypto market, the TVL on Solana has continued to rise. This just shows the strength of Solana. I know there was a lot of bearish news when it came to the whole meme coin thing and pump fund. And Solana's price obviously dipped with the rest of the market, but this shows that there is still faith in Solana on the DeFi side. So that's very positive for those that are still pro Solana. Well, here's proof to show that the TVL continues to rise, and it is very healthy, the Solana ecosystem. Now, the last story, or the other story I wanted to mention here, did you guys have anything to comment on that before I move on to the next story? Anything about Solana or the long-term holder wallet information?
I think that go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that the long-term holder wallet information is pretty much what you expect, right? In these choppy conditions. And we talked about it previously, that the holdings get transferred from shorter-term holders to get shaken out to the longer-term holders. And you're just seeing that. I think that's a normal progression.
Agreed. Juan, you were going to say?
Yeah, for me, I was looking more at the Solana story. I think it's a real nothing burger, really, when you kind of think about how Solana has moved. And it's, again, infinite greatness. I still think it has plenty of potential. For it to be questioned now, I think is a little ridiculous. Yeah,
no, I agree. And the best thing to do when you're refuting anybody's comments is to back it up with data. And that data right there just backs it up that Solana is still going strong.
Yep, totally agree.
Okay, next story is the Ripple declares victory as SEC retreats. So for those that didn't hear, I'm going to show this for 1 second before I get into this story. XRP. Okay, so this was when the news came out. It's the daily. I'm going to go to the hourly here. Bear with me, gentlemen. Okay, so the news broke that the SEC rescinded their appeal. As you may or may not know, in 2023, the later months of 2023, the SEC had declared, the Judge Torres had declared that XRP and by extension Ripple, the offering was not a security. So XRP was deemed not a security by the judge. The SEC appealed that decision, and the other day it was actually announced that the SEC has dropped their appeal. And as you can see, the price of XRP reacted. It has come down since, but we still are above where it was before that news came out. And to go over that story. So Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse outlined the company's next steps after the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission decided to drop its appeal, calling the decision a significant victory for Ripple and the broader cryptocurrency industry. This provides a lot of certainty for Ripple. For, frankly, me personally, because the SEC had sued me, said Garlinghouse. This was yesterday, he stated this. The SEC has abandoned their appeal. They filed suit in December of 2020 originally. We won on key parts of the case in the summer of 2023. Judge Torres made a ruling that the XRP in and of itself was not a security. He further explained, the SEC filed an appeal 8 months ago, and what they've now agreed is they're going to drop that appeal. Referring to Ripple's cross appeal filed on October 24th, Garlinghouse revealed, we still have a cross appeal pending, and so we will go from being defendant to really being a plaintiff. So they've kind of flipped the tables there on Ripple, on the SEC. So now we're in the driver's seat to determine how we want to proceed. Garlinghouse also announced the news on social media X platform, writing, "This is it, the moment we've all been waiting for. The SEC will drop its appeal." So that is when that news came out. Obviously, Ripple price exploded to the upside, had a nice pump on the day, and Ripple still, or sorry, XRP still remains strong now. Gentlemen, I'll go around the horn. I know all of us, if not most of us, we've been following XRP for a little while. I know myself and Cruiser, we've been kind of dabbling in XRP for many years, and it's very nice to see this finally come to an end. So I'll start off with you, Juan. Your thoughts on the SEC dropping their appeal against Ripple?
I think it's about time. However, I would have preferred a victory, like over that appeal as well, kind of cementing their status as not security and can't be challenged again. So I don't like leaving doors open for another administration to come in, and then all of a sudden it's anti-crypto, and then these challenges kind of be brought up. I think we do need legislation, and for me, it looks like it was more of a ploy for the administration, well, not for the administration, but for I guess the Department of Justice or the SEC to kind of avoid not being able to challenge it. So they know they're in a pro-crypto environment, so let's not do it now, let's do it later. And I'd rather have them have won that appeal, like outright just win the court case versus kind of just being able to kind of kick it down the line, maybe not at Ripple, but on somebody or at another token down the road. That this kind of, to me, doesn't feel like a true victory.
Yeah, that's a good point. Having a complete outright, victory or decision by the judge would have closed the case forever. But well, at least for the next 4 years, that it's going to be cherries and roses, and depending on what happens with the next administration, at least for now, Ripple and XRP by extension can finally have their growth. Cruiser, what about yourself?
Well, I have to agree with Juan that it would have been nice to see that outright victory. But if we look at the chart for XRP since they won the case back in 2023, sure, we had a bit of a spike, but for another year after that, the chart shows the uncertainty of anybody involved in XRP, because even after that announcement in 2023, it still spent the next year going sideways until, what was it, November or so of 24, when it finally took off. I think that just speaks to just how uncertain everybody was back in 23, and even so continues today. There's still a lot of uncertainty, even with the massive amounts of pumping it's done. But the SEC pulling out now, yeah, I have to agree. It's probably just a ploy, just a stall tactic, tackle it later down the road. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, I'll be devil's advocate on that. You're right. It could be just a stall tactic or what have you. But I think within the next 4 years, crypto is going to become more mainstream, more adopted, and I think there won't be grounds for them to reopen the case. I honestly don't believe, because by then there'll be a little bit more regulation, there'll be more clarity in the market, and they won't go after them for what they did previously unless they come up with something new. But I really don't think by then there will be any grounds. But like everything else in crypto, remains to be seen.
Yeah, the next 4 years could position Ripple and XRP to be so strong that the SEC can't take them down or even attempt to again. That's very
Well, yeah, because Exactly. By then, who knows? There may be, the TradFi banking system or governments or whatever actually using Ripple or XRP to transact, or at least using the XRPL. And if that is the case, then a legal body can't go after them if they are adopted and used.
Yeah.
Terry, what about yourself?
So I feel that, yeah, it might have been better for crypto in general if there was something settled in case law, something concrete. This kind of feels like a forfeit in sports, like oh geez, we left our bats on the bus or whatever, and we can't play you guys. It's like it's not a loss. I mean, it goes in your record, but it doesn't feel like a win. So I definitely agree with that. But I also do agree that crypto is going to get more support and more momentum, and it will be a lot more difficult to assault in the future.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
And I guess for Ripple itself, it certainly clears up a cloud of uncertainty. That was one of the things that I think was it was always in the back of people's mind if they were considering investing in Ripple. Well, you got this case just hanging, and that's now cleared. So I feel like that's a hurdle, a psychological hurdle that's been removed for some people who might want to invest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and are you speaking retail or institutions and stuff?
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason I say is because if institutions begin to buy, or banks or what have you, or even governments for that matter, if they begin to buy, then it almost becomes impossible for a governing body to go after them again because there are so many people using it. But like I said, that'll be something we'll have to see down the line. Okay, so some other bullish news. We will share this. I know last week we mentioned the global money supply overlay with the Bitcoin chart, and we were saying that people had seen a correlation from Bitcoin over top of the global money supply with a 7. Well, this on Twitter here, Colin Talks Crypto, he posted this chart, which actually on his custom chart here, which is 1,095 days, it has a 78% correlation rate, which is actually pretty high. So what you see here is Bitcoin in orange and the global money supply in yellow. And this has a 107-day lag or correlation. So as you can see, it's correlated very well. This area here, you can't see my mouse, but you see this little green box here, the mini rally that fails. This is basically where we are right now. So if this plays out, we could see a little, mini rally. According to the numbers on this, it's up to about 95,000, followed by another retrace back to where we pretty much are or were a few weeks back, or a couple weeks ago, 78,000 approximately. And according to this chart, he says April 30th, if it correlates as it has been, would be the time or around that date when we will begin the next leg up in this bull market. And according to this chart, global money M2 supply actually has just hit an all-time high. And if it does correlate in 107 days from now, Bitcoin should be up around the $140,000 range. If this plays out, there will be a lot of happy people in crypto. And this is just another bullish signal showing that what we're going through right now is just, just following the global money supply with a bit of a lag. And this was inevitable for Bitcoin, and that the next leg up is soon to begin. Gentlemen, I'll go around the horn. I want to get your opinions on this. If you believe that this is legit, if there's any merit to this, or you think it's just a bunch of fugazi. I'll start with you, Juan.
I think for now, I don't see the merit in the timing of when this bull run, if it's going to restart, if it's going to go up the next leg. I don't think it's as soon as he's saying it is. I was looking at a report around JP Morgan Chase and how much money they're investing in tech, right? And I think they're the leaders right now, I think with $18 billion. And in that space, tech can be anything from AI right now to crypto itself. Because for whatever reason, when crypto's in a good place and everything's pumping, crypto's considered an investment. Mm-hmm. But when it's not clear, it's now lumped in with tech. And for now, since they're not announcing how much money, and this with everything, right? In every space you look at it, when it comes to crypto itself, no one's really announcing numbers of the investment part when it comes to crypto. They lump it together with other assets like technology. and even the government, right, had an opportunity to kind of just say, hey, we're going to put this much money into it, and here's my timeline. And I think that's just the general consensus right now, that that's what they want to do. That's kind of where they want to head. So it's for me, I think the timing right now of this bull starting earlier than expected, I think, or rerun of it, or continuance, I think it's too soon to tell. I think that we just need more commitment from the bigger players like JP Morgan Chase, for example, to kind of really define the timeline for us.
That's a good point. I mean, but there is no denying the correlation that we see on the chart. However, one thing you had mentioned last week, if you look here on the global money supply, right in the center here, this the peak that it had, right around, well, when Bitcoin was approximately 95,000, Bitcoin didn't quite get up that high. And we had mentioned before, or at least you had mentioned, that times are tough. People just don't have the disposable income that they did, for example, last bull market or even a few years ago. And so, even though global money supply is rising, retail and the like, they may not be so inclined as to spend it on risk assets like they would have in the past. But I mean, like I said, there is no denying the correlation on this chart. It's pretty interesting. I mean, it gives you kind of some idea of what could be to come. Cruiser, what about yourself?
Well, I'm looking at this chart with my newbie hat on, just looking at it as if I was, new to the space. If somebody told me that April 30th, the bull market was going to return, based on the last couple months, I'd really have to question it. There's not a whole lot going on in the market right now that would convince me of this timeline as it's shown here. Especially on this chart, it just seems to, have not a whole lot of movement, a little bit of up and down, and then just out of nowhere, it's just going to, catapult up to the moon. I'm not convinced. I think
I was just going to say, you just described what happens every single time the market pumps, is when people don't expect it.
Right. And yes, I do know that, but I'm not convinced whatever we're going through right now isn't going to last. Or I am convinced that whatever we're going through right now will last a lot longer than what this chart shows anyway. I'm not expecting anything even before the summer, really. Now that's not based on any indicators, any charts, anything, just the feeling as a retail investor. That's my take on it for now.
Yeah, well, you could be right, because this chart does not show the Trump effect, and that could be a big contributing factor going forward. Terry, what about yourself?
Well, I'm certainly not convinced either, but I am just a lot more optimistic than I was last week. There's been a lot of indecision in the market, and I feel like we may be nearing the end of it. It was just, to me, it really wasn't clear. It still wasn't clear when the price went up and wiped up the liquidity up around 85 or so, because I had talked about that. I made a couple of posts about it, saying that might wick up into there, and then possibly drop back down. And it ended up filling and dropped back down, but then it went up to like 87. So when it hit 87, I was like, okay, I feel really good about this now. It's cleaned out enough of that liquidity. I think that we're going to bounce down, and I think we're going to sweep the lows. Honestly, I mean, and that may take a little while to develop. And I have talked about seeing some more of our bullish influences develop over the next several weeks. I think that will continue to happen, but I am looking for a sweep probably down. See, there's a band about 83.3. And then the liquidity really drops off under 82. I can certainly see the argument for going back to the 73.7 or whatever the prior all-time high was, 77.3, I think, perhaps. Getting a little dyslexic with the numbers there. But I feel like it hits that 83, 82 level, it's going to clear out enough of it, and then you could see a more significant bounce. Again, always wait for confirmation on that kind of stuff. Don't just, it hit my band and buy. I need to see something to really, a break of a key level on some volume, a back test, a flip to, support from resistance, something like that to confirm it. But again, over the next few weeks, I'm looking for a sweep down pretty close to 80,000, low 80s anyway.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll show the Bitcoin chart in a minute, and we'll show another kind of a trend that I have on there that could corroborate exactly what you just said. I got a comment here from Black Cat. He says, that timeline seems too good, or seems good to me, actually. I'm a rookie, so maybe ask Terry, but Elliott wave count seems to suggest a drop, yet then definitely see that running up in spring and early summer. And then he also says here, oh, I didn't account for the Trump effect. That will that be his new show? Yeah, you never know. So yeah, I tend to agree with that, but this is just another bullish indicator. All these different signals that we're getting could indicate we're slowly going to pull out of this lull that we're in. So while I'm at it, I actually might as well bring up the Bitcoin chart to show you guys exactly what I was talking about. I'll show this tab. I'm going to put this on the weekly. This is the Bitcoin weekly chart. And what I put on here is the parabolic zone, I guess you could call it. This is the weekly chart. It starts all the way back here during the, get rid of this, all the way back here where I have it circled, the bear market low. And this is the parabolic channel that goes up. We had 2 touch points here. We've had another one here when we had that long sideways action, the 8 months that we had back in 24, summer, and then fall of 24, had a touch point there. And then this most recent dip that we had, which we got down to 76.6, perfect touch point on there. And that also coincides with the trend line that I have from the previous bull market across to the top of that consolidation on the cup and handle, the handle of the cup and handle. And then once again on this dip below. So you were mentioning a few minutes ago, Terry, that you see another touch back to scoop up that liquidity down below, and that perfectly aligns with this. If it happens in the next week or two, I could send the price back down to about 79,008, 79,006, and that would still be a healthy market, and this parabolic trend, what do you want to call this, would still be intact. And of course, that could send us up into the next phase of the bull market. And according to the M2 money supply, like we just showed, I'm going to show that again real quick. It shows the top for that approximately 140,000 according to this at the current rate of the global money supply. If it continues to rise, that could mean that Bitcoin could go higher when the bull market does resume. But according to this, it's 140,000. And if you look back at the chart, that would bring us right up to about this area here on the parabolic trend. So, that's, all these, little clues that we're getting could indicate that this bull market is most definitely not over. Me personally, not financial advice, but I don't believe it is. A lot of others, I don't think anyone on the panel here believes the bull market is over. But for those that believe it is, there's a lot of bears out there saying that we're going to head right back down to 50,000, 60,000, and some even below. They're saying get ready for the next, several months, year and a bit of bear market. I really don't believe we're at that point yet. But I do want to ask you guys how you're feeling. I know I did ask you guys this last week if you felt that we were entering a bear, if we're still in a bull. And there was a lot of bearishness last week, but a little bit more bullishness this week, including Jerome Powell, the FOMC meeting, going from no rate cuts in 2025 at the last meeting to saying that there could possibly be 2 this year. So that's bullish news. And of course, QT, quantitative tightening, is kind of, they're going to lay off, be more neutral, and then going to QE, quantitative easing as the year goes on. So I will start off with 1G. Again, I know you are bullish in this market, but I believe, are you more bullish this week with these new signals that we seem to be getting?
Oh, still bullish. There's like I said, just because for example, the JP Morgan news and how they frame their expenditures for tech seems non-committal. The fact that they put money aside for it is bullish, right? And people are not seeing that, right? Like there's a lot of money being set aside just to handle cryptocurrencies in general, and how to invest in it and how to take advantage of it for consumers. The government itself, if you look at the states, regulations being set aside and budgets being created just to handle, again, cryptocurrency. So again, to me, those are all bullish signs that they're taking this seriously. We as consumers just want the actual numbers. What does that look like? Well, we're not privy to it. I'm pretty sure they exist. We're just not privy to it. And that's why I think a lot of these bigger companies have allotted a lot of their budgets to kind of align with the bullishness of crypto at this point in time. It's just in decision time, right? I think that there's a lot of range building right now, a lot of consolidation, rebuilding this range for a proper launch. Right, and before they launch, they probably like our pal here Terry said, probably gonna sweep a little bit, right? Clear out a lot of these longs that people been holding, and then just go parabolic and capitalize on the momentum. But that catalyst just doesn't exist now. And for me, don't misconstrue that the fact that I'm just not ready to believe that April 30th is a date. It's more about me deciding that right now no one's making that decision, no one's making that catalyst, no one's announcing something big enough where people can say, hey, it's time. Just look at the volume. The volume kind of dictates a lot of that conversation, what's happening right now, and everybody just holding on to their wallets and waiting.
Just to be clear, I put the correlation chart back up. Now, April 30th is the kind of the line that he has drawn here. But if you look at the M2 money supply, it really doesn't start getting, to get going here anywhere near, new price levels until, the end of May, June area. So Cruiser, you were saying that you don't see it being until, early summer. And if you look at this chart, if you want to talk about new all-time highs and getting back to that 100,000 area, yeah, we're talking June before we get up there. But I hear what you're saying, Juan. I understand what you're trying to say there, and I agree. Okay, Cruiser. So I'll turn over to you. Same question. I know you're bullish, and you had mentioned that you don't see anything really changing until summer. But overall, are you feeling more bullish this week?
More bullish this week compared to last. Not to be a negative Nancy, but no. And the reason I say that is we're all fixated on Bitcoin. Of course, that is the benchmark and its indicators. Look at something like Ethereum, which is now down to November 2023 levels.
Yeah, Ethereum's a meme coin now.
Well, yeah. Well, there's a few others here, that, well, I guess overall, when you look at something like SUI and Super and, well, I could go through a whole list, that they're underperforming compared to the rest of the market right now. Well, the whole market is, but there are some that are just nosediving. And when we look at Bitcoin, sure, it seems all positive and there are indications that we're going in the right direction. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, what if what we've seen was it, that 109,000 for Bitcoin, with the level of institution involvement and manipulation these days, every little bit of positivity that comes out of the market, they just quash it, right? The longs get, the longs start piling up, and they're killing them to get that liquidity, right? But so I'm gonna say overall, I'm staying neutral. I'm not more bullish, and although a lot of things are kind of making me wonder what's going to happen from here on out, I don't want to say I'm really bearish at the same time. So it's kind of in neutral territory for me. I'm not sure what to think, but I'm looking at more than just Bitcoin. So,
but you're not selling, and that's the most important thing.
No, I'm not. Well, no.
Okay, you bring up manipulators. Terry, I'll get to your opinions in a second. But speaking of manipulators, I know lot of people are wondering, like I've been asked, especially at work, and a lot of people are just kind of learning about crypto. They tell me, how TA works, how can you chart properly, how do you know what price levels that the market's going to go at, specifically Bitcoin. And it's simple. Like prices, I don't want to call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, but I mean, it kind of is. So you have manipulators, and they like to manipulate the price up and down. And there's certain price levels. Now, how these price levels are attained, basically you have buyers and sellers. You have buy walls, sell walls, where they put their buy price or sell prices into the market. You can do limit trades. And so as the price goes up or the price goes down, when it hits those areas where there's a lot of buy pressure or sell pressure, it could send the price down or up. And manipulators also have areas that they, if they have long positions or short positions in the market, they have their ways to manipulate price by, turning in a narrative, getting market sentiment a certain way. They do their own selling or buying, which causes liquidation events, and price goes down to certain levels. The entire chart is manipulated in one way or another at a lot of times. So the best way to navigate this space, I feel, is just kind of zoom out. Don't look at the 5-minute chart or the 10-minute chart or even the hour chart. Minimum the daily chart if you want to see what's going on day to day. But the weekly, you zoom out, and it really gives you a picture of which way the market is going in. If you zoom out on Bitcoin or pretty much anything else, not all coins, some of the altcoins anyway, meme coins, exempt, etc. But for the most part, you see that they're in an uptrend when it comes to Bitcoin, and somewhat to a degree Ethereum. But although not this bull market, Ethereum, as I mentioned earlier, it's kind of more of a meme coin lately. But you get an overall picture when you zoom out. So I just want to throw that in there. Sorry, Terry, I wanted to get your opinion on this as well.
Yeah, no problem. Can you put up the weekly Bitcoin chart? I do agree with you that QT is going to be cooling. I don't think we're going to see QE very, very quickly, but sort of a slow, cautious changeover. And Powell's, he's been saying that, for months, right? I mean, at least since last summer, right? We're just going to have to see what the data says. He's been all about slowing the roll. So what I see on the Bitcoin chart here is that it had double topped, up there in the SR band, and then fell down and lost the range, lost the support, like, say 93, 95K or so. And it is now dropped back to retest that trend line. I think this is just the first bounce, so I would probably wait on the second one. I suspect it's going to come down and check, maybe put in a higher low, but fill in that wick at least a little bit before it heads back up. But
right in this area here, you're thinking?
Yeah. And this is super, super common action. We have a breakout. We have a vector breakout of a trend line, and nobody wanted to hear it when Bitcoin was $100,000. But coming back to retest that trend line, for a flip to resistance is super, super common. That's just classic action. And so if we do get, if we do get a positive retest here, then I think it's pretty reasonable to go off to the races back to the original target for that cup and handle, which was on my chart about 125,000. So I'm still kind of looking for that 120, 125,000 range. Price could go higher. One thing, in Cruiser kind of touched on this a little bit, and that's, okay, if price is going to go up, right, where's the liquidity going to come from? Money's got to come from someplace. It's not just going to come out of thin air. And a lot of the capital has been extracted from the market, from the Solana ecosystem particularly. But I think broadly that's also been the case. And I got to agree with Juan. You're not going to see a run or something until you see some kind of a news event. You need a spark to start a fire, and we haven't seen it yet. People are still they're still waiting. They're still a little unsure. I think they're becoming a little more hopeful. Look at the fear and greed index. That's way up from a week ago, right? Yeah, so I think the hope is there. It really just needs something to fire it off.
Okay, couple points. Thanks for that, Terry. Couple points. One, the catalyst that we need to get the bull market started again. I agree. We do need something to bring excitement back to the market. Right now, the biggest narrative in markets in general, not just crypto, but in traditional markets as well, is this whole tariff war. What if we get an announcement that they've come to an agreement, And that would be something that could be a catalyst to begin the next phase of not just traditional, but crypto markets. Two, Terry mentioned, we need to have that double bottom and scoop up that liquidity. And flush. I agree with you 100%. It's going to happen. We're going to have that double bottom. The only fear I have, which I mentioned to you off stream, is that it goes too low. If we do get a really bad capitulation, like a really fast dip in price, those that have been in the market, like I showed you the long-term holder wallets, those that have not been in all that long, like a year or less, that still remain after the previous capitulation, my fear is they will be gone and be gone for good, and that's liquidity that we're not going to get back. So the manipulators or the elites, it's a fine line. They got to make sure that they can do two things. One, reset the market in a way that is healthy without scaring away too much retail, and then be able to maintain the strength of the market for the next leg up, which whenever that is, wherever the catalyst may be. But the market is very fragile, as we saw last week with the fear and greed going all the way down to 15. That's not something we've seen very, very much. One other time in recent memory was the FTX crash. And, we haven't really had retail in the market compared to what we did the last bull market at all yet. And if we do want them to enter the market, we really have to make sure that it's enticing for them. And with global money going up, but with things being so expensive, inflation, et cetera, people are going to be very hesitant to separate with their money. So we got to make sure it's worth it. So that's just my 2 cents on that. And I agree with you, gentlemen. It's not going to happen anytime soon. We do need something to boost the market. And, until then, I guess the good thing you could say is that we are building strength in the market with the zone that we're in. It is healthy. I mean, there's no way anyone could think that after we had this kind of a run up to 109,000, that we weren't going to get a major correction. Every single bull market, we get 25, 30%, sometimes even more corrections throughout the bull cycle. This was needed. It couldn't continue the way it was. It was not sustainable. This is normal. And for those who have never experienced a bull market, that's just, you get into the crypto markets and it's what you have to expect. So that is the charts. Before I do want to go on to the DGen's newsletter, but I did want Juan to give us a little information on gold. As you can see, gold hit another all-time high. It did exactly what you expected, Juan. It hit that previous all-time high, had a bit of a correction, and then it continued up. So what are you seeing in gold right now?
Doing its job, being a store of value, right? I think we talked about it after our stream on Monday, and you asked me, what's happening to gold, and you're thinking, hey, it might touch down before it shoots up. And I'm thinking, I told you, it's probably going to go around 320, 325 and see if it wants to go up or down. And it clearly decided not to only just go above 320, but then go into the 350 and flirt up there. So which means that the market is just not really ready for crypto, in my opinion. I think they're building that war chest in gold right now, liquidating and gaining confidence. So when that news does happen, you'll see a nice little respectable drop in gold, and then have that money flooded back into stocks and flooded back into the market and into the crypto market, right? And I always like to talk about how that relationship and divergences exist, because it's just a truth of reality of what's happening in the markets. And gold is right now, it's damn, I'll be shocked if it hits 3,100, but it could well get there, right? As we wait for news. That was not my expectation. That was, really quick. So to me, the higher and faster it gets to these 31, 32, the more likelihood you're going to see a nice drop. Like a fast, steep day of reckoning kind of day. But again, it'll help crypto, it'll help the stock. So that's what I'm thinking that we're looking into. It just depends on how fast we're going to get there. So I'm excited for gold. For all those who took the ride up to 3K, congrats. You guys must have made a pretty penny. Let's hopefully continue to take this ride as far as it wants to take us. And just always, like I always tell you guys, prepare for the worst. Make sure you set your stop losses. Make sure that you're ready for shorts because it's coming.
All right, thanks for that. And for those that are curious, like speaking of parabolic trends, like you just look at gold in the last few years, and in the last year alone, it's up 52%. That's just crazy. But like you said, there's been a lot of fear all over the world, in every economy, and so people are turning to stores of value, and gold is really showing its worth. You can't really compare pricing. If you rise compared to gold, obviously Bitcoin turns out to be the winner, but it's also very volatile. And as you can see with gold, it's been a little bit volatile. There's been a few volatile times, but all in all, it's been a very stable store of value investment. So yeah, thanks for that one. Okay, moving on, we're going to go to, I know every week we mentioned the DGen's weekly newsletter, and I just kind of give you a quick overview. The links are in the description for the newsletter. Just sign up with your email. It's free to do. And we also give you the link for the DGen Discord. This week, I'm actually going to go over the this week's episode, the Crypto Weekly episode, or sorry, edition 21. Whale Play is the title. So what's great about this newsletter is they always give kind of a market overview, and then they talk about USDT dominance, total 2 dominance, and then they have a token of the week. So, excuse me, briefly, we'll go over the overview here. So Bitcoin Whale recently closed. Before I go on with this, we did mention in last week's stream about that whale, or institution or whatever it was that opened up that massive short position in Bitcoin. And then they added to the position, and the theory is that they had a counter position open on a different exchange. So either way, there's mention of it here. Bitcoin Whale recently closed over half $500 million in short positions ahead of the upcoming FOMC meeting, managing to secure $9.46 million in profit, despite attempts from publicly formed teams of traders trying to hunt his positions liquidation. So we mentioned that too, that a lot of people on Twitter were trying to counter trade him. Meanwhile, Bitcoin's ETFs have faced $5 billion in outflows over the past month, which we have shown that on the ETF chart. While gold has been seen record inflows of $10 billion, which Juan was just touching on a few minutes ago. Gold has also recently surged past $3,000 per ounce for the first time ever, as investors have shifted toward the traditional safe haven asset, as BTC dropped over 19% in 3 months. While gold climbed 12.5%, in other news, Tron founder Justin Sun hinted at an upcoming TRX integration within the Solana ecosystem. The fastest horse wins the race. And right now, Solana, even though it hasn't been doing great, there's been a lot of FUD around it. It's still the chain that everybody wants to work with. It's fast, it's cheap, it's very stable now, and pretty soon they're going to have the fastest TPS of any blockchain in crypto when their new update comes out. Fueling speculation within the communities. Tron has been on the growth streak with daily active addresses nearing record highs and annualized revenue surpassing $2 billion, or 116% year-over-year increase over the past week. Tron also led in transaction fees, generating $12.9 million, surpassing both Ethereum and Solana. So now, for those that don't know about Tron, I know a lot of people are hearing that Tron, the ecosystem is growing and that so far and such. But Tron, their main activity, the main volume on Tron is the stablecoin. So don't get it wrong. It's not like there's a ton of projects, dApps or DeFi on Tron. It's just they have a lot of stablecoin volume, which makes up, I don't know the exact stat, but quite a bit of their revenue and their transaction volume and et cetera, et cetera. But I mean, still, there was a time when Tron was almost all but dead, and they were issued the stablecoin. They made a deal with Circle, and it's kind of rejuvenated them. But it's nice to see them wanting to partner up with Solana because, like I said, everyone else is partnering. Sui has done it, Base somewhat, and then the Phantom Wallet has integrated Bitcoin and Ethereum on Solana as well. So USDT dominance recently broke out of the downtrend, but soon after ran into this resistance zone. giving us some nice opportunities for longs yesterday. However, we can now see that we are back to testing our support zone. So right now, shorts would be in favor, especially seeing as though polymarket bets are giving 99% chance that the FOMC meeting later today rates will remain stable, which they did. And then there's a total 2 information here. And then down here, there's a token of the week. This week is the Ethereum name service, ENS. So I just wanted to go over that because there's a lot of information on the DGen's weekly newsletter. Like I said, it's free to sign up. All you need to do is go into the description below the video. There's a link directly to it, which is dgensnft.com, or sorry, newsletter.dgensnft.com. And then just sign up with your email and you will get this newsletter each and every week. And then also in the Discord, or sorry, in the description below is the link for their Discord. They have chart masters, you want to call them. There's a lot of insights, general chat, of course, NFT project, and just a lot of great information in their server. So that is the DGen's newsletter, which comes out every Wednesday. Also in the description, you can find links to Terry's channel, and of course his Twitter as well. He does a lot of TA on different cryptos, meme coins, and all the important crypto assets. And it's a pretty good TA. That's why we love having him on the show each and every week. Okay, before we sign off, gentlemen, I'll go around, talk to ask each one of you, what do you expect for the week coming up? And is there anything else that you are looking at that could be newsworthy? Juan, I'll start with you.
I'm still looking towards any decisions being made on the regulations spot. Looking at more states kind of jumping the bandwagon or getting on, should I say, with either crypto decisions, crypto budgets, things that I think consumers want to see. Also keeping an eye on how many taxpayers are looking forward to the refunds and what they do with it. I think that's going to play a huge role on whether this April timeline comes true or not, or comes into fruition. But the fact that everybody kind of really is filing late this year, looks like they're, again, these timelines get pushed. And lastly, right, you got to keep your eyes on the orange man, right? You have to. He's going to play roles. He's going to make decisions. He's going to make a lot of people irate. So, got to keep your eyes on what he says and what he does. And if he's going to decide to bypass judicial law, those things are gonna play an impact on our economy. And as we all know, as America goes, so does crypto. So those are the things that I'm looking forward to right now.
Great, thanks for that. Before I go to Cruiser, Silas, I'd like to welcome you up. How you doing?
Hi, Silas.
In a while. It's good to see you. How are you?
Hi guys. Oh my God, I have such a privilege to just join at any point, and thank you, Alive. I have a question that I want you guys discuss maybe at some point, or if you did, give me a direction where I can listen to it. I love how Juan.
Did we lose her?
She's still there, but can't hear her. Right when she was going to ask the question for Juan, I was excited. I wanted to hear it.
You and me both.
All right, we'll wait for her to come back. Cruiser, I'll go to you. What do you see in the market? What do you expect the next week?
I'm not expecting much change in the next week. But because I am a glutton for punishment, and this Ethereum hitting 2023 levels, it's really caught my eye. So I'm well, like I said, I'm a glutton for punishment. So I'm waiting for the right time to throw a long in there. But I'm not expecting much difference in the market over the next week. Pretty much status quo. Things will stay the way they are for the next little while, I think. Don't have big expectations.
That's probably the consensus. Terry, yourself.
I think what I'm going to see, or what I expect from this week, is price just continuing to bounce on down. Not
steady decline.
Yeah, just sort of a steady grind down seems the most likely thing. Right now, price is sort of bouncing on just above that pivot of 83.5. So I think that It might wobble there. Probably will continue to wobble a little bit there. There is an SR band, but I think it'll probably fall through. One thing I do want to point out, mention is sort of a news bit. I've seen some people posting on X that they got burned on stablecoin purchases because they didn't have their slippage set correctly, or they had their slippage set too high. And apparently there's people like sandwich attacking that, or just burning you on the slippage for stablecoins, which is just criminal.
Yeah. Do you know what chain that's on? Like I can't see a chain where you'd need a high slippage.
Yeah, I don't recall. I should follow up on it.
Okay, yeah, it'd be good to know, because stable coins on Solana and BSC and chains like that, you don't really need any slippage, next to nothing. But I wouldn't be surprised if it is Ethereum or even Tron. I've heard that Tron can be a little bit pricey sometimes. But yeah, that'd be good to know.
Well, I think maybe what happens is, like, if you're a meme trader, you set your slippage much higher. And so the default maybe set on your meme trading, like maybe you just didn't set it back, or I don't know. But obviously
I'm guilty of that myself. Yeah, I've done that before where I haven't readjusted my slippage. That's right. Yeah, sneaky, sneaky buggers.
Yeah. Be safe out there.
Exactly. Yeah. Number one is always be safe. Never click on links that you don't know, that you're unsure of, or ones especially that you haven't requested. And you got to be safe. Use the hardware wallet whenever possible. And if you do have any money on any trading accounts for trading, make sure the only money you have on there is money that you're actually actively trading. Otherwise, get it off the exchanges and onto your hardware wallet. But yes, thanks for that, Terry. All right, gentlemen. Well, I think we lost Silas. She did come back temporarily, but I don't think we're going to get her back. No comments, no DMs, no. All right, unfortunately, well, maybe we'll get to that question of hers next week, or she can DM one of us. But thanks again. Don't forget, everyone, to like and subscribe to the video and to the channel. And please turn on that bell notification, because we are not getting our videos pushed out, and that'll be very, very helpful. And we appreciate each and every one of you. We now are over 2,600 subscribers, which is phenomenal. Channel is growing really well, and we appreciate every single one of you. Thanks again. Until next week, every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, we have our live stream, and on Mondays, Juan and I will have our weekly weekend update. Thanks very much, everyone, and thanks to everyone here. Thanks again for a great week. Have a good week, everybody.
See you guys.
You too. Good night.
Most deaf got a vision. We round table, we got no cables, predicting the future using their bagels. Chart is throwing out numbers, no trouble. He finds the gems for real, no struggle. Calculations running through your mind, weighing options, seeing what you'll find.